guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna have a little makeup playtime. I'm gonna be testing out some of the new products that I recently shared in my 3,000 point Ulta haul. If you missed that video, I picked up some really great swag and I only spent like 30 bucks of my own money. It was pretty epic, so I will link that video for you guys up in the cards. But I have been itching to get my hands on some of these products because I have been patiently waiting to put them on my face until I could film it for you guys so you could see all of my initial thoughts and hear my initial opinions. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be creating this look that I'm wearing right now, and we'll find out whether or not the stuff that I picked up was actually worth my money. Or well, I guess worth my Ulta points, but you know what I mean. On that note, we've got lots of makeup to play with and chat about today. So let's get into it. All right, so let's get started, guys. I'm just gonna go in with my Coats Face Prime and Protect SPF 40. You guys know this is like my favorite sunscreen and primer in one to wear under makeup. So I'll just slap this on my face. So the first new product that I want to test out today is going to be the J-Cat Aquasurance Compact Foundation. Really excited about this one because I love a good powder foundation, and I feel like the consistency of this, the way that it swatched, reminded me a lot of the Wander Beauty Wanderlust powder foundation. So if this is a dupe for that, that would be amazing because the Wander Beauty one is I think like $42, whereas this one is $14. Now obviously with this being a powder foundation, I'm not going to want to put liquid concealer on top of this. I like to do my concealer before my powder foundation, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. I decided to reach for the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer today. This one is like new-ish to my collection. I think I picked it up a couple of months ago. I have already reviewed it and talked about it before on my channel. I don't know, I still don't love it. I don't think it's like the most amazing concealer ever, but I don't hate it either. So I just want to continue to use it, A, so it doesn't go to waste, and B, just to see if my opinion on it changes at all. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap this in with a little Moda synthetic brush. I like using this guy for concealer. It's the BMD 120 contour brush. I don't know, guys. I feel like really this is not bad. It definitely has a good amount of coverage and it blends out really nicely. I think it's just a matter of not over applying with this. The applicator picks up a lot of product, so you really have to be careful not to go too heavy-handed, because if you use a little bit, it won't crease and you don't need to set it. And I think where this can go wrong is if you put on too much and then you layer powder on top to set it because you put on too much concealer, then it can start to look really dry and heavy, especially on the under eye area. But if you just use a little and you really buff it out, it's not bad. And it's like, what, a $5 concealer? So you can't complain too much. All right, so let's move on to this bad boy here, the J-Cat Aquasurance Compact Powder Foundation. This guy has a very, very soft, super silky consistency to it, and it seemed to provide really decent coverage. So I feel like this has a lot of promise to it. Now it does come with a little sponge. I don't particularly love these for applying powder foundation. The only like in-compact sponge I've actually enjoyed using is the one that comes in the Wander Beauty Compact, because that one is not porous like this. It's almost like a microfiber texture. It's hard to describe. It's smooth but still soft, so it just kind of like spreads the product over your skin really nicely, whereas this I feel like is going to hold on to the product and not blend it quite as well. So I'm just going to use a brush like I normally would with like the Bare Pro foundation from Bare Minerals. So this is a Sigma Flat Kabuki F80 super popular brush. I'm just going to start by gently tapping in here. Yeah, this kicks up a lot of powder, which the Wander Beauty one does the same thing. So you definitely don't want to like swirl your brush in here or it's going to make a giant mess. And I'm just going to start by swirling this, buffing it into my skin, and we'll see how it goes. Now I picked up the shade Natural in this. I always find it so hard to shop for complexion products online because it's really hard to tell, like based on those little swatches, how it's going to look on your skin once you actually get it home. But I feel like this is not a bad match for me. It definitely leans a little more on the tan side. This is probably a shade that would be too dark for me in the winter, but I feel like it's not bad. It seems to be buffing in pretty nicely, and it doesn't look like too heavy and cakey. It's got a nice matte finish, but it's not overly heavy. It's very pretty, actually. Let's got my little mirror here so I can look at myself close up. I do feel like this blurred the look of my skin texture a little bit. It's very smooth. It's got good coverage. Definitely a really, really nice consistency. I'm a fan of the way that this has applied. We'll see how it wears, and if I get shiny, that's usually my number one concern with oily skin. But aside from the shade being like a little on the dark side for me, I like this so far. Definitely looking pretty good. Now, I don't have a new brow product to test out today, so I'm just gonna slap my brows on real quick and then I'll be right back. All right, so let's move on to another fun new thing. Now, this is technically a sneak peek of an upcoming haul that I'll be filming probably in the next week or so, depending on when the rest of my packages show up. So I mentioned in my Ulta haul video that I did buy some other stuff, a couple things from Sephora and from some other like individual brand websites. So a lot of those things are just taking a long time to get to me. So I kind of want to wait till I have it all and then I can do one big haul. But there was one thing that showed up the other day that I'm really excited about, and I honestly don't think I have the patience to wait to bust into, so I wanted to use it on camera today. And that is the Kosas Moisturizing Baked Bronzer. I did mention that I picked this up in my New in Beauty video that I filmed not that long ago, so it's not entirely a surprise that I have this, so I don't mind using it ahead of the haul. But this is one of the products that I ordered during that like Sephora spring event that they had. It just took like 3 weeks to get to me. So I opted for the shade Light, and I really struggled to decide which shade of this to get because I do kind of fall right between like a light and a medium skin tone. But I decided to err on the side of light because I was afraid if the medium was really pigmented and it was too dark that I wouldn't be able to wear it. Whereas at least if this is on the light side, I probably can build it up so that it'll show up on my skin tone. I don't know, it's not that much darker than my natural skin, so I'm a little dubious. I guess we shall see. That's why we're testing this out on camera. Now, the whole gimmick with this product is that it's supposed to be infused with shea butter, so it's supposed to be extra silky and smooth. It also has a sheen to it, so it's supposed to give your skin that like sunset hour golden glow, which honestly sounded pretty nice to me, so I wanted to give it a go. Also, this packaging is like absolutely adorable. I'm really into it. It's a little chunky, but I like the frosted plastic. So here goes nothing. I'm just gonna go in with my Juno & Co. powder brush. Oh dear Lord have mercy. Okay, I like barely tapped that in there and there is so much kick up. Holy cow. Okay, so that's one thing to know about this. And it does look very pigmented on the brush. This again is why I went with the light, because if it's like this and I went with the medium and the medium would be too dark, I think there could be a problem. So let's start this up around the hairline and see how it goes. Oh yeah, that definitely is shiny. That is for sure, which we knew. That was to be expected. Okay, it definitely is showing up on my skin. It almost has like a slightly blushy tone to it. It's not quite what I would expect of a bronzer, but I don't hate it. And over this very matte foundation, it definitely is giving my skin a lot of radiance. I feel like you could probably get away with not wearing a highlight if you were wearing this product. Like you could maybe pop a little blush on the apples of your cheeks just to give the rosiness, but this has quite a bit of shine to it. Like it gives your skin that almost glass-like kind of effect where a highlight probably is like not entirely necessary. Now, the one potential downside I am seeing with this is that as you build up the color, you're also going to build up the shine factor. So you kind of have to be careful a little bit because I feel like you don't want to over apply this product or it is going to make your skin look a little maybe like too metallic, especially, you know, applying it over a large area. So I could see this one being nice to layer like over a matte bronzer, perhaps almost like a bronzer topper, which is weird, but we do that with blush, like blush toppers are a thing. So having like a bronzer topper and just adding the glow without adding as much color, like it definitely serves a purpose, but it's a little bit bougie and not entirely necessary, especially considering that this is what, like $34? It's kind of a lot of money. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of my Makeup Forever Artist face color in S112 that I've been trying to pan, and I am just going to like contour almost a little bit with this and just deepen things up where I need it without adding more shine. Yeah, that just adds like that teeny little bit of extra dimension that I feel like my skin was lacking with the Kosas bronzer by itself. And then for blush, I think today we're going to test out the Persona Cosmetics Super Blush. I did also mention that I picked up the Honest Beauty Cream Cheek Blush as well in my Ulta haul, but because it's a cream blush and I wanted to use a powder foundation today, I think I'm going to wait to test that one on camera, maybe until a day where I'm using like a liquid or cream base product. I think they'll just play better together. And I also have been waiting a really long time to test this guy out. I've wanted to get it basically since it first launched, but then it sold out on the Ulta website, so I had to wait for it to come back in stock. Now, this little guy comes in 2 shades. I went with Georgia, which is a really pretty summery corally pink. I thought it looked absolutely stunning. I love these kinds of tones. But the other tone that I think that this comes in is a little more mauve-y and also looked like it would be really pretty. So I'm going to use another little Juno Babe brush here. This one's smaller and a little bit more tapered. We'll pick up a little of this blush and we're just going to pop this bad boy right on the apples. Woo! Now, I feel like this blush also has a little bit of shine to it. My skin is looking crazy glowy, and I don't know if that's just the blush layered over the bronzer, making the shine in the bronzer pop more, or if it's because this blush is adding additional shine. When you look at it in the pan, it doesn't look like it has like glitter or shimmer in it or anything like that. But I feel like reading about this, I remember it saying that it had a more natural satiny finish and a little bit of a sheen, so that would not surprise me. Oh, but that tone, very pretty, and it's blending out really nicely. So there's the cheeks. So far, I feel very juicy and very fresh and summery. I think it's really pretty, and I like it paired with a more matte foundation because I feel like it gives some life back to your face, where, you know, all matte products can kind of make things look a little bit less natural, especially in person. Now, honestly, I don't really need to put on highlight because I'm looking pretty glowy as is. But because we're using the Persona blush, I just kind of was curious to see how it worked with the Persona highlight. I have the Cali Glow in the shade Zuma, which I absolutely love. So we're just gonna add a little teensy bit of this at the high points of the cheekbones, just because. I'm gonna use a little Moda Highlighting Glow for this, just so that I'm keeping things kind of in a more precise place. And just gonna pop a little right up at the tippity tops of the cheekbones. A little bit goes a very, very long way with this product. It's blinding, but it's really, really pretty. And I love the tone of this particular shade, Zuma. I think this is the middle toned one, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think it's the lightest, but it looks really nice if you have slightly more yellow undertones to your skin and a slightly more like light, medium, or medium complexion. It's beauteous. All right, you guys. So that's what my cheeks are looking like at the moment. I'm digging it. I feel like these products actually all blended together really seamlessly. They look very pretty and my skin looks very shiny, but like shiny in a good way, not shiny in a greasy way, which there is still time for that. Okay, so let's move on to eyes. Now, I'm gonna disappoint some of you, I am sure, because I know a lot of you probably wanted to see me test this little guy out here, which is the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette in Acai You. So I tried this out yesterday because I couldn't resist. I was like really excited to use it because I've heard so many good things about this, so I kind of just wanted to give it like a preliminary test run. and I hated the way my makeup looked. I was super bummed. These shadows just like would not build. First of all, like this shade here ended up being just super sheer. I was kind of hoping it would be a dupe or like an affordable alternative to the Nabla shade Flowery in the Soul Blooming palette, which is a very similar toned pastel, like periwinkle matte. But this just like, I don't know, it doesn't show up that well, and I kept trying to build it, and it still was really, really sheer. But even more disappointingly, I wasn't impressed by the shimmery shades in here, and I feel like that's what everybody really likes in these e.l.f. palettes, are the like metallic shades are supposed to be really good. But I found these to be just like a little chunky and sheer, and they started to crease on me. They wouldn't build on top of each other. I kept trying to layer on more with my fingers or with a brush, but then when I'd go to like buff the crease out, by the time I came back to my lid, it was starting to crease and it was looking like the shadow was totally faded, and it was driving me nuts. And I actually want to do some more filming today, so I would like for my makeup to look good. So I'm kind of leery about trying to use this again because it was just such a super huge fail, which was a big disappointment to me. So I definitely am going to use this on camera and test it out again, but I think I'm gonna do something different today for the sake of my makeup actually looking nice. So instead, I want to use the JCat Prismetal Chromatic Eye Mousse that I just picked up. So this is still something that I recently hauled, and while I have used this formula before, I've never used this shade before, and I thought it would look super pretty in a look. And I figured since we were already using some different Persona products, why not bust out my original Identity palette, because it's been a hot minute since I've used this guy, and I feel like this will fit right on in with this color story. So I'm gonna start out by going in with Humble and Maverick. Like I'm gonna mix these two together on my Sigma E35 and put that in the crease. And the reason I'm doing that is because Maverick by itself is a little deep, but I feel like Charming is a little warmer than I want to go for this look. So we'll see if we can kind of create a more soft transition by mixing those together. This is the beauty of makeup. Sometimes you just gotta play and experiment, and layering and blending things together is what like actual artists do with their paint. So don't be afraid to experiment with your face. Then next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Chic, which is this matte dark purple, onto my Zoeva Luxe Petite crease. Going to put that in the outer corner of the eye, and I'll just kind of blend those shades together. And I think I'm also going to pull this color out a little bit into almost like a V shape, kind of mimicking the angle of my brow, just to create a little bit more of like a cat eye type shape. Now, before I go in with this JCat shade, I think I want to lay down a little bit of a metallic shadow as a base. I'm going to go into this shade Seductive just on my finger. Oh, this is a gorgeous taupey kind of shimmer. So I'm just going to lay this down all over the lid, and I'll just blend this up into that crease transition a little bit, just because I feel like this will ease the transition of that JCat shade into the rest of those mattes. I usually like to make sure my mattes are pretty much where I want them to be before I go in with the cream topper, because once you put this on and it dries, it's a little bit harder to blend on top of it. Also gonna take a little bit of Chic at the very tip of this Lexi brush, and I'm just going to buff that color onto the lower lash line. Okay, so now for the fun part. I'm gonna go in with my JCat Prismetal Chromatic Eye Mousse in the shade Frosty Foil. I do like to kind of like warm the product up with my finger a little bit before I go ahead and put it on my eye. And then we'll just tap and swipe to blend. For some reason, I feel like this is going on chunkier than they normally do, which is weird. So I'm gonna try smoothing it out with a brush. Maybe I am just cursed with weird eye makeup, guys. I don't know what's going on. Just patting some more of Seductive on top of that, because I feel like that JCat just took all of the eyeshadow that was underneath away. All right, let's try this again on the other side. No, it's weird. I feel like it's not laying down on my eyes at all, and instead it's just like picking up the shadow underneath, but only leaving behind like a little bit of sparkle, which is very weird. Apparently this is the kind of day we're gonna have with makeup, and this is the beauty of doing first impressions videos. You never really know how it's gonna go, and you guys get to see the craziness in real time. Well, that's weird and disappointing. I feel like this just ended up being very chunky. More chunky, I feel like, than some of the other JCat Pressed Metal eye mousses I've used before. I mean, it's really shiny and I love the tone of this, but I want this on my eyeballs, and I don't want it to look like really scaly and chunky though. All right, well, that was a struggle. Let us move on. I'm gonna use a little of this shade Sassy as an inner corner highlight. This shade is very bright and blinding. And then I'm gonna go in and line my eyes with this Dose of Colors eyeliner in the shade Crushed, which is a really pretty dark purple. Could this look use some wing liner and lashes? Probably. I feel like with how smoky this is, that would be helpful. So I'm gonna go in with the Maybelline Lasting Drama liner, and I'm just gonna use this little angled brush from Zoeva. This is the, number 317 wing liner brush. Now, I think I am going to opt for falsies with this look, but before I put those on, I am going to go in with mascara, and I wanted to let you guys know that I just decided to bust into the sample that I have of the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara maybe about a week or so ago, so I've used it probably 3 or 4 times now, and so far I actually do like this, especially as like an everyday mascara. It makes your lashes look very fluffy and separated. It's not the best for volumizing in that it doesn't make your lashes look super thick at the base, but it does such a nice job of lengthening and separating and coating every lash. So it's not one of those like barely there, why did I even bother putting on mascara because it barely looks like anything is on my lashes type product, but it looks more natural than say like the L'Oreal Lash Paradise or something that's like really thick and like makes her lashes look a little more chunky. So I figured while we are testing out new makeup, I could show you guys how this one looks, because this is a really like raved about product. It's been out for a while, but I've personally never tested it before, and I got this in one of those lash stash sets around the holidays, so this is just the first time that I'm getting around to using it. So like one coat definitely looks more natural, but this is nice in that you can like build it on itself, and the brush does a good job of keeping things from getting too clumpy or spidery, which I appreciate. And I haven't had an issue with this like getting really flaky or smudging on me, which is awesome. I don't usually have smudging problems, but I will get flaking with some mascara. Okay, so here's what the eyes are looking like with just mascara. It is pretty, right? The Kush mascara, like it's not the most dramatic thing. I feel like my lashes still get lost with all of this eye makeup that I'm wearing, but I feel like on a day where I was wearing something that would be a little bit more simple, it would be really nice. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop on a pair of falsies, and then we'll meet back here to wrap things up with lips. Okay, so the lashes are on. Let's wrap things up with lips. Of course, today we're going to be using the Nabla Dreamy Creamy Liquid Lipstick that I hauled from Ulta. I got the shade Eve, and this just looks absolutely stunning, and I felt like it'd be perfect to pair with like a cool toned purpley smoky eye. So this formula is supposed to be a cross between like a liquid lipstick and a lip gloss. So it's supposed to deliver the pigment and the intensity of a liquid lipstick, but with the shine of a gloss and more comfort. We'll see if it bleeds and like travels outside of the lip line. That is usually the one worry for me with a product like this. But let me tell you, the swatches and the pictures of people wearing this looked absolutely incredible. People say they're really comfortable, so I have high hopes. I know I said this before in my haul video, but this has a very nostalgic smell to me, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. It smells fruity, but I don't know exactly like what. That is a pretty color, I will say. And it has a slight, cooling feeling to it. It feels like a little tingly. Not like crazy intense or burning, but it does have a little bit of a cooling sensation to it. Okay, so the texture on this is really, really interesting, actually. I don't feel like I've put anything quite like this on my lips before. It's tripping me out a little bit, but like in the best way possible, because it feels like crazy lightweight, like very, very comfortable. It's not drying at all, but it's not thick like a gloss. It doesn't have the oily consistency that some glosses have. Like, it doesn't feel like it's gonna move around. So in that way, it does remind me of a liquid lipstick, but it has none of the dryness. It doesn't feel tight or powdery. Like, it is insanely comfortable. And there's zero stickiness either. Like, my lips do not stick together at all. It's, that's really, really nice, actually. I am super glad I decided to pick one of those up. Obviously, the wear time on this is going to be impacted by eating or drinking, because it's definitely like still creamy. It's not gonna dry down, so this will transfer. But I get the feeling that if you weren't eating or drinking anything, that this would hang out on your lips for a while, and the pigment's really intense too. So we'll definitely have to see how the longevity plays out, but on first application, that is real nice. All right, so here is a closer look at everything for you guys so you can see what it all looks like on my face. I'm having some crazy glitter fallout from that J-Cat shadow underneath my eyes, so that's a little frustrating. But other than that, I'm generally pretty pleased with everything. I feel like the makeup right around my nose here, the foundation, is starting to look a little weird. I don't know if that's the concealer or the J-Cat powder. I have to obviously like test it out with some different combinations, but I feel like my cheeks are looking pretty good, and that shine is real. So on that note, let me zoom you guys out, and then I'll wrap things up with some final thoughts. All right, you guys, so those were all of the products that I wanted to try out for you on camera today. Honestly, I feel like the end result is still really nice. I'm pleased with this makeup look. The eyes were a little bit of a struggle. I don't know what happened with this here, but I feel like I made it work in the end. And there honestly really wasn't anything else that I used that I would call a dud. I do think I probably could have erred on the side of the medium bronzer from Kosas. That would have probably given me a little bit more depth. I don't think I'm gonna return this though. I hate wasting product like that. So I feel like this is something I probably can layer over, like for example, my Benefit Hoola bronzer or my Balm Bahama Mama, because those are matte bronzers that are a little bit darker. This would add just a little bit of that like sun-kissed glow and sheen without adding too much more depth. So I'll have to experiment with some combinations and see what I come up with. But the blush is beautiful. The lipstick also super beautiful, so comfortable. Really enjoying that so far. And this foundation, I feel like, is looking very promising. My skin looks really nice, and I do feel like this is very similar to the Wander Beauty. Obviously, I'm gonna have to wear this all day and see how it performs over several hours. Maybe I'll end up doing like a split face wear test as well to see how they actually perform stacked up next to one another on my face. I feel like the shade match between this and the medium compact of the Wander Beauty is actually not that off from each other, so maybe I'll give that a go tomorrow or later this week. If you guys enjoyed this video and like seeing me test out and try out, share some thoughts on new makeup, I hope you'll consider giving this one a thumbs up. I always appreciate your guys' support so much. And if you're new here to my channel and you're not already subscribed, I hope you will consider clicking that button. That way yours truly will show up in your feed and we can hang out together again in the future. As I mentioned before, I do have lots more content coming your way in the near future. I'm gonna film some other videos today. I'm gonna film another haul video once the rest of my orders come in. So hopefully some fun things coming your way in the very near future. And in the meantime, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying well. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.